Coming up on RaiderVision, students react to the death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Our beloved Biscayne Bay is facing an environmental crisis. The latest on the hundreds of dead fish found in the water.
And we're introducing a new segment featuring you, the people at the prep.
I'm Massimo Del Rio.
And I'm Lucas Figueroa.
And this is RaiderVision.
Student IDs have been distributed over the past couple weeks. Dean of Students Tyrone Sanzal has more on why we wear them on campus.
Last year we added functionality, so there are certain spaces like the student center, the gym, the attendance office that are on a system by which the doors will remain locked and you need the IDs to enter. That's a security feature. And it's important, obviously, because in the event of, let's say, an active shooter or an intruder on campus, there will be a certain amount of time for you to get into the spaces using your IDs before they become locked.
If you have any questions about IDs, email Mr. Sandal or Activities Director, Ms. Bowen.
Now to what's happening in South Florida. Movie theaters are reopening all over. According to the Miami-Dade County government website, people will have to wear masks and can only eat in designated areas. We spoke to an employee at Regal Cinemas at the Falls to give you an inside look at the scene at movie theaters.
Okay, so for now, we're wiping down and sanitizing everything about every 20-30 minutes, depending on, especially the flow of people. If there's more people, we'll wipe down more frequently. And we're also limiting the number of guests in the theaters.
Students also shared their opinions on the reopening of movie theaters across Dade County.
I think it's a very bad idea for movie theaters to open back up because of COVID-19. I think it's not safe enough for a bunch of people in a movie theater together.
I think that we should still maintain social distancing to keep things safe. However, I feel like if we're going to reopen movie theaters, then we should still probably maybe sit every 2 seats down and still enjoy the movie. So I think my thing is if we can open up schools, then we can pretty much open up theaters.
An investigation is underway after countless fish were found dead on the shores of the Biscayne Bay. Our Nina Castro-Alves has more on this environmental crisis.
If you've been out on the bay recently, you may have noticed something a little fishy. On August 10th, Miami Waterkeeper, a nonprofit organization that monitors the waters in Miami, during their bacteria sampling, encountered hundreds of dead fish. This included a variety of all fish, big and small.
We saw anything from eels, shrimp, chunk fish, crab, seahorses. Really, a lot of marine life was killed. And so immediately, we really started to get on the ground running, basically.
The affected areas span north from North Miami Beach to as far south as Key Biscayne. According to Miami Waterkeeper, low oxygen levels in the water are suffocating the fish, which is a sign that the bay is in critical condition, as it can no longer sustain its local marine life. The main contributing factor being nutrient pollution, this including sewage leaks, stormwater, and fertilizer runoff.
It's really kind of just added up, and now you have a recipe essentially for ecological disaster. And so literally overnight, the bay became a dead zone.
Larger consequences are to follow if South Florida doesn't change inland policies. Currently, Miami Waterkeeper is working with the city of Miami and scientists to aid Biscayne Bay. For RaiderVision, I'm Nina Castro-Alves.
Associate Justice of the Supreme Court Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away on September 18th due to cancer complications. She was 87. Ginsburg was a towering women's rights champion who became the court's second female justice. Press release by the Supreme Court Justice John Roberts referred to her as a tireless and resolute champion of justice.
Thinking about the Supreme Court and the balance that she gave to the court, how I feel about women's right to choose and things like that, so I'm very worried about the shift in power on the Supreme Court, so that's what I think about.
I really respect Ruth Bader Ginsburg as a person. She's always been such an inspiration to me. And even though she may have passed away, which is very sad and shocking, I hope that her legacy and the progress she brought to our country lives on.
The day of her death was a sad one for everybody. Now, let's go to Claire with the weather.
Thank you, Lucas. It's going to be a rainy week in Miami, with thunderstorms Monday through Wednesday. Monday, we see a high of 86 with a low of 80, with wind speeds reaching up to 12 miles per hour, 37% chance of rain. Tuesday reaches a temperature of 87 with a low of 80, with wind speeds reaching up to 14 miles per hour, 62% chance of rain. Wednesday, we see a high of 87 with a low of 80, with wind speeds reaching up to 14 miles per hour, 35% chance of rain. Stay dry.
With the Gulliver Raiders having their season opener last Friday night, the seniors started off the 2021 season with a win. The explosive offense led by Carson Haggard and the overwhelming defense was too much for Belen to handle. And more on sports, with the Miami Heat being in the playoff finals since 2015 when LeBron left, Gulliver has decided to have a Miami Heat themed day where students are allowed to wear shirts and jerseys to represent the Heat being in the finals. We asked students how they felt about the event and how they felt about the Miami Heat finally being back in the NBA Finals.
My favorite player is Jimmy Butler. He's just really good and he can shoot threes. I do think the Heat are gonna win. They're gonna win 6.
Today's episode marks the start of a segment we like to call People at the Prep, featuring outstanding members of our Gulliver community.
What's up, everybody? I'm João Carvalho, and this is me. I was born in Brazil. I'm lax. I'm lax when it comes to not school stuff. Obviously, in school, I'm taking all these hard classes, and I'm trying to do as well as I can. But even with that, I'll laugh off stuff. If you fail a test, or maybe not fail, but if you don't do as well as you thought you would, just laugh it off. Because in the end, this is all gonna work out. I like playing cards. I don't know how people will take that. I'll play some blackjack and stuff, but there's a ton of different games. Gin rummy. It was sophomore year. I was finally getting my citizenship. But when we got there was an ambulance out front. And when we walked in, there was this lady. She had a cardiac arrest. And the EMTs, the first responders, were using this thing called a Lucas chest compression machine. And basically it automates CPR. And I just found that so interesting. Yeah, so that's really what got me into learning about BME. I've gathered up with a few of my friends from middle school and a few kids that I've just met from Palmetto. One of the avenues we've gone down is the issue of personal hydration. And we saw in a study that over 3/4 of adults are actually chronically dehydrated and they don't realize it. And so what we wanted to do is create a device that would allow people to track the levels of hydration throughout the day. I think space exploration is really cool, and just working with all these people, we're all close-knit, trying to find a solution really quickly, and yeah, that aspect of engineering and being able to work at NASA or SpaceX, that would be cool. If I could do that in 10 years.
For RaiderVision, I'm Massimo Del Rio.
And I'm Lucas Figueroa.
We'll see you next time.